In the previous episode, we started transporting all the flowers we've gathered over time with the help of our faithful little tractor, the McDonald, who then delivered all the items to this factory behind me that's been storing the items, grinding the items, making some dye that we added to the dye collection. But now it's time for us to tie it all together. So we will be using the dye, the glass from the glass factory, and the terracotta from the terracotta plant to create the ultimate color block factory in this location. But before we can build the color block factory, we need to do a bunch of things. We need to move a train track, extend a platform, then we also need to look into solving some of the other dye problems that we are not currently making, which is mainly black dye, cyan dye, brown dye, green dye, and then the crafting of some of these other dyes. But we're not going to do them all in this episode. No, we're going to just solve maybe 1, 2, or 3 of them. So let's get ready for this episode. So the easiest one of these to solve will be the black dye, because you see we've got charcoal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place down a chest, I'm going to chuck some charcoal in there, we're going to lock it, add the quantifying key to it, and now we have it. Now we've got the whole drawer over there. Now with this drawer in hand, we can add it to the system. So I'm going to take out that block and take out this. We're going to add this drawer over here, and that should now slowly start to fill up, because remember we had this vault over here with items running back and from to and from in this loop, and then the drawer system will pick it up and deposit it over here. So now we've got the whole charcoal heading in here. Next thing we can do is we can add another grindstone. It should automatically start spinning. We can add a chute and a chute, and if we do this, we can see that black dye is slowly making its way into the system. And this will also produce some gray dye that will come out every now and then and make its way over here, which is quite easy. So black dye will go up. And now that we have black dye, we can use that to increase our gray dye. And we can do that by just combining white and black dye. That will give us gray dye. But that's a whole new system on its own. That's mechanical crafting. So we're going to need some mechanical crafters and a way to add those items to the mechanical crafter to make us those products. So let's quickly gather a few resources. So I've gathered up the necessary materials. I prepared the little area over here and also area over here for something in the future. But we're mainly going to focus on this area where we will be making light blue dye and gray dye. And also we don't need a lot, so I did remove the upgrades on these 2 drawers because we don't want it to craft all of the other components like the white and the blue into that specific material. So over here we've got 2 drawer controllers in the ground, and we're just going to do chutes on top of those, autocrafter facing down into those, and then 1 into each side of that. And that is just because we're going to combine white with black for gray and white with blue for light blue, and already pull power from the system down there. So the next thing we need to do is we need to feed the appropriate items into this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right over here add some of these funnels, and on these smart funnels we're going to put some filters. So these will be white, and then we'll have a black and a blue one, and this will just make sure that we take the right items and feed it into this. We can directly feed from the chute into the crafter, but I just think it's going to look a whole lot better if we do something like this, because it just makes it look a little bit taller. And here in the bottom I'm just going to put girders like this just to make it feel a little bit fuller. And then we can continue with the trim over the top and add our final controllers up there. So let's first place our controllers. So now we'll be able to extract from this. And if we add a trim over here, we should see items starting to flow into the system. Excellent. And these items are slowly going to climb up and become more and more and more. This one's going to stop as soon as it reaches a certain amount. I think it's 2000 some odd. And same with that one over there. So we automated 2 more colors. Now the only one we still need to do is the cactus green and the cyan. I've got an idea for cyan already, and the cocoa beans. Those 2 might run as a single farm, but then we just need to think about the normal green, and I think we're fine. I don't think we're going to need much more than what we have going here at the moment, so I'm not too worried. But I think it's time we take a break from the dye factory and fix the next little issue, the train tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just quickly gonna break this, and then we're just going to remove this a little bit. We're going to get an error that says the train can't move. That's all good. That's all good. And let's just rip out more of this track. And now from here, we're just going to fly over this way. We're going to hold down control, and we just want to try and get this track as straight as possible with that. And then slotting into this little area over here. And that should be the track. Yes, the train's picking it up. And now everything's fixed. Whoop, nearly got hit. And now with the train track sorted, it's time to extend this platform. And for that, we're going to use the schematic cannon again. So we've got our little platform extension blueprint. We'll place that down. Going to bring it over. And that line over there has to line up with the very edge. So it's 1, 2 back, 2 down. And that's the position of the platform if it's extended. And now we can just chuck the blueprint in here. We can chuck in the clipboard and we'll see exactly what materials we need. So I'm going to quickly just grab all of that, put it in a cannon, and we'll do a little speedy montage. And that was a proper little montage. It was real quick. But now we have the platform in and we can finally start construction in this area. But to do that, we're going to have to craft quite a few materials, and the biggest one being mechanical crafters. For you see, for every block we want to create, we're going to need 9 mechanical crafters. And I want to do this factory a little bit different. Instead of having the items constantly building up and having really insane amount of materials, I'm going to make it a request system, because you see I don't build a lot with, say, purple or black or cyan or any of those terracottas, so I only wanted to craft them if and when I need them. So to do that, I've decided on a design where I'm going to have each and every material or each and every color on their own little crafting grid, and then it's got a button, a little system. I can push a button and I request the items and will dispatch the items. So the most expensive item for this entire factory is going to be this item in my hand, the mechanical crafter. And the reason for it being so expensive, well, you see, every time we want to craft one of the colored blocks, we're going to need a total of 8 of the original block that we want to color and 1 dye block. So that means every single color is going to require a grid of 3 by 3 mechanical crafters. And we've got a total of 16 colors in Minecraft. So that is 16 times 9, which is 144 mechanical crafters, but you get 3 for every craft. So if we divide 144 by 3, we're going to have to craft a total of 48 mechanical crafters. So let's do that. So the recipe for the mechanical crafter is electron tubes, brass casing, and crafting tables. So because we're going to have to craft it 48 times, we're going to need 48 of each. So we got 48 crafting tables, 48 brass casing, and 48 electron tubes. So now we can just click, craft 48, and there we go. We've got all the mechanical crafters we're going to need for this factory. So I'm going to quickly mark out a grid of where the factory is going to go, and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so we've got the building marked out. We've got 3 of the 4 corners, and it's going to be quite a long building with 33 blocks internally measured. And then on either side of the building, we've got a 6 deep space where the machine's going to go. And in the center, we've got a 7 wide corridor, just because I'm a bit worried that it looks too bulky and the passage is too small, which I think will look cool if you run down here and you've got machines on either side. Remember, we need to do them on either side because we have to build a total of 16 of these crafting machines. But let's get into it. Let me grab the blocks we're going to need to build the actual machine, and let's get started on that. So first of all, like mentioned, it's going to be 6 deep. So what I want to do is in the front here, I want to run a line of industrial iron all the way from the one side to the other side, and this is just going to serve as base for the structure, just so it looks a little bit more sturdy. And we're going to do it this side, and we're going to do it this side as well. And now that we have the 2 sides in, what we're going to do is we're going to have 1 open block, and then we're going to have them of 3 from the mechanical crafter, and in the center of that 3 we will have a chest. So again, the mechanical crafter is going to end over here, going to have a block open, and then in the center we'll have that. So that's basically every 3 spaces we're going to have one of these drawers. And now that we have the drawers in, on top of each of those we can just place down 1 mechanical crafter pointing into it. And once you have that, we do 1 into each of the 2 sides, and then you can just basically build it up until you have a little 3 by 3 grid, and that you're going to repeat a total of 15 more times. And there we have all our mechanical crafters, and it's already looking impressive. But now the next part is you're going to have to be able to feed items into each of these grids. In our case, we're going to be feeding in the block. We want a die on the outskirts and a die into the center, and that will craft us the type of the corresponding colored block. But now with the setup currently as is, we need to put in the item into every single one of these blocks for it to function. But with create, you can right click on these little intersections, and what this basically will do is it will say that no matter what block of these you feed an item into, it will put that item into all the blocks, but the center one is separate. So now this allows for you to only need 2 inputs to go into the system to make it successful. Plus it also changes the design a bit on the front, which I think will look a little bit less busy. So let's quickly change all of these. Next up, we have to give an input to each and every single one of these mechanical crafters, and we're going to run them straight in line over here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and I'll show you in a little bit why we're doing 3. And we're just going to do that along all of these. Next up is going to be a whole lot of belt work, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just continue running these all the way down, but we're going to place a little block there. That way it is blocked, and now if we run, it will automatically only place in the one direction, like so. And then on this side, we're going to cap it off, and we're going to do exactly the same going back. And then we're just going to connect all of these up with belts. And then we're going to rip out the center ones. We'll connect them later on, again, if and when we need it. So the next step will be to get the die into the system. So how we're going to do that is we're just going to deliver it via a drawer system again. So we're going to do just a trim over there, and then we're going to do a control unit over there. And on that control unit, we're going to put one of these brass funnels. And the reason we're using a brass funnel is because we want to actually filter what we take out of the system. And while we're busy with that, we're also going to set it to exactly 1, because that's how many it's going to take out of the system at all times. I might put it up to 2, but for now, let's just leave it at 1. We'll then go ahead, extend these belts on the side so they go past, and then on those belts, we'll put a chute on either side. And then on the side of that, we'll do something like this. And then on top of those, we will have our smart chute. So this is the basic shape you're going to have. So it's one right next to that drawer controller, and then we've got that shape running up. And then on top of those smart chutes, we're going to add 2 more controllers, or 2 more drawer slaves. So we've got all of these in, and it's starting to look like an absolute beast. But now let's do a little bit of filter work, and how they're going to work is this first one's going to be terracotta, and the second one's going to be glass, and that's going to repeat all the way down. But we also need to set them down to exactly 32 items, just like that. And that's it for these 2 funnels. And then down there, we're just going to go ahead and just take all the dye we have and put in 1 color in each of these. And then we're going to dye all of these, put in a dye, exactly 1, and we just chuck it down. Next one, exactly the same story, dye, filter, 1, chuck. So now that we've got the dyes and all the filters in, we're just going to connect these trims over here. So now that automatically means this one's connected to those. And then we're just going to run it down into the ground like this. And from here, we're going to connect it to the dye factory, the terracotta warehouse, and also the glass factory over there. So that's a lot of digging and a lot of trims that need to get placed. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it all. Connecting all those trims took quite a while, but we're almost there. We're almost near the end. The last thing we need to do is give this beast power and also just lock all those smart chutes. So to lock the smart chutes, we're going to come around to this block over here. We're going to place a temporary little block. And on the side of that, we're going to do 2 blocks. And we're just going to do a torch right over there. And that should lock these 2 smart chutes. So we got the smart chutes locked, and the way we're going to unlock them is we're going to have buttons in front here, and we're going to have 2, one for glass, one for terracotta, and on the back of these we will have these little redstone links, and these little redstone links will also go all the way up here and up there, and these 2 will be the receiving parts. And we will make sure that this one and this one has the same combination and vice versa. And then whenever we want something, we can click this button, we're going to request the one block, click this button, request the other block. And this should ensure that we have exactly 2 stacks coming through at any given time when the buttons are pushed. So now the only thing I need to do is do all the buttons, do all the redstone links, and then I need to start crafting the different types of colored items so we can do all the combinations and the codes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place all the buttons, do the redstone links, hook up the power and get the power system ready. And then I'll bring you guys back once we're ready to test this beast. And we've got it all connected up. Everything's spinning, everything's working, and we can see the belts are going the right way because we've got one die in the center of each of these contraptions. And this will also help us know which machine is which. So on this side, we've got red, and we know that glass is on this side. So what I want to do is I want to put down a glass block over there and a terracotta block over here, and that will show us if we push this button we will get glass, if we push this button we'll get red terracotta. But now also we need to link up these two like so, and those two like so, and if we put one in each of these drawers, let's do terracotta on top, glass at the bottom, and if we were to push this button, it's working. Okay, so I know when I tested it the first time in creative, it only did 2.5 stacks. So I wonder if it's going to do it again. If it does, I don't know why, but on the second turn, it does give you a total of 2 stacks. Yeah, so it only gave us 1.5 stacks. Not really sure why, but like I said, on the second turn, it gives you the right amount. And there we can see terracotta is also being crafted. So that works as well. Now, all I have to do is set up all of these machines, and then that will be done for the technical part, which means then we'll have to do the building part. But let's quickly get all the materials in place. This place is looking insane. I'm loving this build. Look. I've got all the materials added. They're all ready to craft. I did add all the materials I had in my inventory into the machine. But let's say, for example, we want some purple terracotta. So you'll push the button, give it a sec, and we'll start crafting. And I know it's not the fastest, but for the amount of terracotta I use, this is actually the right speed, and I'm not too phased about it. It's same with the glass. Push the button, and in it goes. So yes, I'm liking this build, and it's looking kind of cool, but even though it looks cool, it can look even better. So I think it's time for us to decorate and build the building over this contraption. So sit back and enjoy as we do a little build montage. And that's the end of that little montage. It's been quite an interesting one because I finished it a while ago, but as you guys might slightly hear, we've got a thunderstorm happening in the background and it's beautiful. But it does not do anything great for the audio quality of videos, but it's okay. So this is the build and I really like it. I decided to go for this type of design again just to pick up on the flower farm in the distance, almost to bring it into this area but keep it in style with these builds over here. So we've got the center build and these 2 lean-to roofs, and in these lean-to roofs we've got our little color block producers, and I think it looks so cool from the inside. We've got this roof, we've got the structures, and as I showed, we can just simply push a button and it will start to produce said item. I need to be careful because we don't produce all the dyes yet, as you can see over here with the cyan, but that is something we'll sort in the near future. Then on the outside, I decorated trying to keep it minimal, and I added this little bridge that you can use to cross over the train tracks to the other side, and I do like it. I think that's a neat little detail. But then also on this side, what I've done is, instead of building the columns outside the build, I actually incorporated them into the wall, so you have these little niches that breaks up the little flat wall a bit. And we got this done by just adding trapdoors on the back side of those. And I have to admit, I kind of like that a lot. So there's still a lot to do, but I think this area is slowly coming together. I want to start adding little stairs going down, little pathways, try and take out some of the red sand and replace it with some coarse dirt and stuff like that. But let me know down in the comments, what did you think of this build? Do you like it? What do you think of the design? And what do you think of the whole color block factory? I think it's such a neat little build, and I do think we need to do it again with some other factories as well, where we've got some request systems for those blocks we don't use a lot of. But also, we're not going to do a supporter of the week, so next week we'll do double supporters. So again, thank you for watching, and do remember, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss another video out. Till next time, bye for now.